Restoring Illinois to greatness. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Opportunity Project and hosted by AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Pat Hughes on Rising. And Pat, my colleague in sound, Mike Gallagher, nationally syndicated talk show host, of course, follows my show with Amy in the mornings. He's 9 to 11 on AM 560. Visited Chicago this week from his home state of New York. Not like he doesn't have enough problems in New York, but he came to Chicago to help Jeanne Ives. He headlined a fundraiser that Ives had in DuPage County. And he had Ives on his show earlier in the week prior to the fundraiser, at which point he said this.
Join us to meet Jeanne Ives, who is absolutely necessary for the future of the great state of Illinois, and I'm excited for your candidacy, and I want to be able to support you any way I can.
Well, it's interesting because you had this experience when you ran for Senate of getting tapped into some kind of the national conservative radio talk show hosts and how helpful that can be in raising profile and raising money, and so. These are the kind of assets that you have to have if you're going to run an insurgent campaign against an establishment Republican, like you did, and attempted to take out Mark Kirk, and like Jeanne is trying to do, attempting to take out Bruce Rauner.
Yeah, and I think the strategy is very, very smart because the people in the national conservative movement, the Mike Gallaghers of the world, the Sean Hannitys of the world, the Steve Moores of the world, these are people who are willing to help because they really care about the country and they understand the value of Jeanne Ives or someone like Jeanne Ives. They do this all the time. And so I think this race can be nationalized. You saw it through the National Review article. You see it with the graciousness of Mike Gallagher talking about Jeanne today. And I think as things heat up, more and more national people are going to pay attention. And that becomes a big microphone, Dan, because people in the state of Illinois, particularly in the primary, will pay attention to those outlets. And people across the country then can be motivated to participate in making phone calls or donating money to a campaign who otherwise would never be involved in Illinois politics. That happened for me. I raised money from people all over the country once it got nationalized.
Because it was a federal race.
It's a federal race, so people can participate and they can help. And so it's just a good thing to do.
Yeah, and speaking of endorsements, the endorsement or help that Governor Rauner was getting from Missouri Governor Eric Greitens not as good today as it was a couple of weeks ago, with the disclosure that Eric Greitens, the governor of Missouri, had an affair.
Was that in the commercial? Was that part in the commercial?
Not in the commercial.
It's such a good commercial, everybody said, with the guy who's having an affair, the adulterer.
It'll be interesting. And also the Greitens thing, too. I'm sure you saw he denies this, but the woman he had the affair with suggested to her husband, then husband, now ex-husband, that Greitens had a photograph of her scantily clad, and he used it to sort of blackmail her, saying, I'm going to release this photo and expose you if you disclose our relationship. He denies that, but that's what she said to her husband, who, this is like something from an episode of Dynasty, and I'm showing my age, I know, but that's the first thing that popped in my head. Falcon Crest, is that better? The husband surreptitiously taped his wife's confession to him that she was having an affair with Greitens, and that's how we have her comment that Greitens tried to blackmail her. You follow all that?
I follow it because I used to watch those TV shows too when I was a kid. This is
like Linda Evans or
sure.
Joan Collins.
The pool. Remember when they fought and then fell into the pool? It's famous.
Well,
Look,
which one did you like better?
Linda Evans. I like the blonde.
Yeah. All right.
And I liked her on like Big Country or whatever she was on that used to be on TV when I was like homesick. Those TV shows, and when she was younger.
A lot of people compare me to a young John Forsythe.
It's because you're like you have. Well, yeah,
just distinguish.
Never mind. I was going to make a comment and then I didn't. But look, here's the deal. Politicians are horrible, and these things go together. Get rid of the Greitens, and then by consequence, the Rauners of the world, and put in the Ives, who've been married to their husband for all these years, who've raised 5 kids, who have the principles of West Point. If we take the right people, Dan, and put them in office, we won't have this nonsense, or at least there's not as much nonsense of this as we do.